Wandering Night, a low-vision view of the world. White pot bread pudding at Highbanks Lake Campground. Sometimes you want to have a little something different when you're camping. While I might not often do baking, especially standard dry baking, on a backpacking trip, perhaps sometimes I might. I decided to try this old version of a bread pudding called a white pot, which I had first learned about watching James Townsend and Son videos, which I highly recommend. My thinking was simple meals from a few centuries ago might make good camp food. A white pot uses white bread. I used a couple slices of challah. Normally, you're supposed to take the crusts off, but I didn't see any point in doing that. I just sliced it up into small pieces. For my egg mixture, I whisked up 3 eggs and then added in about a tablespoon of brown sugar and about 12 ounces of whole milk, using Nido whole milk powder to create the whole milk. That actually would end up being more than I needed. I probably only used somewhere between 10 and 11 ounces. Uh-oh.
The spillage, Ken.
I know. Damn. Make sure you stir the mixture well so everything blends together. You'll have to do that on a regular basis to prevent the sugar from settling to the bottom.
Where you're holding it, there's like a little beak. So use that. Yep, you're getting it.
Okay, that's... Did I get them mostly covered?
No, poke some more in. There you go, they're just floating to the top.
Okay, well, we gotta make another layer anyway.
Okay.
What?
Where's the stuff from Argus?
Oh, over here.
No, I'm looking for those two.
The cinnamon buns. They're a. Oh, here they are.
Okay. Oh, you didn't get them. Okay.
That's how they packed them. Oops. I imagine you could use whatever fruit caught your fancy. Raisins, as I am doing here. Dates, apples, whatever you had in mind to use. For this recipe, I used a total of about 3 ounces of raisins, half on each layer. After I put the first set of raisins on, I would add the second layer of bread cubes, then the remainder of the liquid, topping it off with more raisins. I didn't leave quite enough room for the bread pudding to grow. It did overflow a little bit. Ooh, they're on the full side. Damn.
What are you making?
A bread pudding type thing. It's called a white pot. I have no idea if it's going to work.
You're losing half your
I'm
crap.
losing my raisins, aren't I? I wasn't watching the clock too precisely, but I know I baked this white pot for at least 15 minutes, probably less than 20 minutes. I used a GSI 8-inch frying pan plus a heavy-duty pie plate. This is part of the Firebox Ultra Cook Kit to make my backcountry oven. The very top of the white pot was a little moist, but when I stuck a fork in, it came out clean, so it was clearly cooked all the way through. All right, folks, it's the moment of truth. We've tried making this camp-cooked white pot. It overflowed a bit, but here goes. That turned out pretty well. Nice and sweet, not overly sweet. The raisins are good, the eggs are cooked. Maybe a little soft, but hey, for a first-time experiment in the bush, well, semi-bush, okay, Highbanks Lake Campground, I call it a success.